The velocity ratio of a simple wheel and axle with D and D as the diameters of effort wheel and load axle is A dd, B dd, C dxd, D dd. The correct answer is dd. The unit of force in SI system of units is A dyne, B kilogram, C Newton, D watt. The correct answer is Newton. The moment of inertia of a solid cone of mass m and base radius r about its vertical axis is A 3 Mr 25, B 3 Mr 210, C 2 Mr 25, D 4 Mr 25. The correct answer is 3 Mr 210. A body is said to move or vibrate with simple harmonic motion if its acceleration is directed towards the mean position. A true, B false, C, D. The correct answer is true. A ladder is resting on a rough ground and leaning against a smooth vertical wall. The force of friction will act A downward at its upper end, B upward at its upper end, C 0 at its upper end, D perpendicular to the wall at its upper end. The correct answer is 0 at its upper end. Joule is the unit of A force, B work, C power, D velocity. The correct answer is work. The force induced in the string AB due to the load W as shown in the below figure is A W sin, B W cos, C W sec, D W cosec. The correct answer is W cosec. A spherical body is symmetrical about its perpendicular axis. According to Routh's rule, the moment of inertia of a body about an axis passing through its center of gravity is V here m mass of the body and s sum of the squares of the two semi-axes. A ms3, B ms4, C ms5, D none of these. The correct answer is ms5. The three forces of 100 N, 200 N and 300 N have their lines of action parallel to each other but act in the opposite directions. These forces are known as A coplanar concurrent forces, B coplanar non-concurrent forces, C like parallel forces, D unlike parallel forces. The correct answer is unlike parallel forces. The efficiency of a lifting machine is the ratio of A output to the input, B work done by the machine to the work done on the machine, C mechanical advantage to the velocity ratio, D all of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. A ladder is resting on a smooth ground and leaning against a rough vertical wall. The force of friction will act A towards the wall at its upper end, B away from the wall at its upper end, C downward at its upper end, D upward at its upper end. The correct answer is upward at its upper end. The length of a seconds pendulum is A 94.9 centimeters, B 99.4 centimeters, C 100 centimeters, D 101 centimeters. The correct answer is 99.4 centimeters. The slope on the road surface generally provided on the curves is known as A angle of friction, B angle of repose, C angle of banking, D none of these. The correct answer is angle of banking. Coplanar non-concurrent forces are those forces which at one point but their lines of action lie on the same plane. A meet, B do not meet, C, D. The correct answer is do not meet. The moment of inertia of a rectangular section 3 cm wide and 4 cm deep about x-axis is A 9 cm 4, B 12 cm 4, C 16 centimeters 4. D 20 centimeters 4. The correct answer is 16 centimeters 4. A pendulum which executes 1 beat per second is known as A. Simple pendulum, B. Compound pendulum, C. Torsional pendulum, D. Seconds pendulum. The correct answer is seconds pendulum. D'Alembert's principle basically depends upon Newton's second law of motion. A. Correct, B. Incorrect, C. D. The correct answer is correct. The forces whose lines of action are parallel to each other and act in the same directions are known as A. Coplanar concurrent forces, B. Coplanar non-concurrent forces, C. Like parallel forces, D. Unlike parallel forces. The correct answer is like parallel forces. A number of forces acting at a point will be in equilibrium if A. All the forces are equally inclined, B. Sum of all the forces is 0, C. Sum of resolved parts in the vertical direction is 0, i.e. V0, D. None of these. The correct answer is sum of resolved parts in the vertical direction is 0, i.e. V0. In collision of elastic bodies, the coefficient of restitution is the ratio of the relative velocity after impact to the relative velocity before impact. A. True, B. False, C. D. The correct answer is true. In a framed structure as shown in the below figure, the forces in the members AB and BC are respectively A. Tensile and 2 watts compressive, B. 2 watts tensile and compressive, C. Tensile and compressive, D. None of the above. The correct answer is tensile and 2 watts compressive. The acceleration of a particle moving with simple harmonic motion is proportional to the displacement of the particle from the mean position. A. True, B. False, C. D. The correct answer is true. The unit of moment of inertia of an area is A. kgm2, B. kgms2, C. kgm2, D. m4. The correct answer is m4. The moment of inertia of a thin rod of mass m and length l about an axis through its center of gravity and perpendicular to its length is A. ml24, B. ml26, C. ml28, D. ml212. The correct answer is ml212. When a body of mass m attains a velocity v from rest in time t, then the kinetic energy of translation is A. mv2, B. mgv2, C. 0.5 mv2, D. 0.5 mgv2. The correct answer is 0.5 mv2. The unit of angular velocity is A. m-min, B. rad s, C. revolutions min, D. both B and C. The correct answer is both B and C. A force acting in the opposite direction to the motion of the body is called force of friction. A. Agree, B. Disagree, C. D. The correct answer is agree. For any system of coplanar forces, the condition of equilibrium is that the A. algebraic sum of the horizontal components of all the forces should be 0. B. algebraic sum of the vertical components of all the forces should be 0. C. algebraic sum of moments of all the forces about any point should be 0. D. all of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. The ratio of static friction to dynamic friction is always A. equal to 1, B. less than 1, C. greater than 1, D. none of these. The correct answer is greater than 1. 1 kg force is equal to A. 7.8 N, B. 8.9 N, C. 9.8 N, D. 12 N. The correct answer is 9.8 N. Coefficient of friction depends upon A. Area of contact only. B. Nature of surface only. C. Both A and B. D. None of these. The correct answer is nature of surface only. The kinetic energy of a body upon its mass and velocity. A. Does not depend. B. Depends. C. D. The correct answer is depends. According to Newton's first law of motion, every body continues in its state of rest or of uniform motion in a straight line unless it is acted upon by some external force. B. The rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the impressed force and takes place in the same direction in which the force acts. C. To every action there is always an equal and opposite reaction. D. None of the above. The correct answer is every body continues in its state of rest or of uniform motion in a straight line unless it is acted upon by some external force. The moment of inertia of a square of side A about an axis through its center of gravity is A 4 B 4 C 4 D 4 The correct answer is A 4 The velocity ratio of a single purchase crab winch can be increased by A. Increasing the length of the handle. B. Increasing the radius of the load drum. C. Increasing the number of teeth of the pinion. D. All of the above. The correct answer is increasing the length of the handle. The motion of a wheel of a car is A. Purely translation. B. Purely rotational. C. Combined translation and rotational. D. None of these. The correct answer is combined translation and rotational. If the efficiency of a lifting machine is kept constant, its velocity ratio is proportional to its mechanical advantage. A. Directly. B. Inversely. C. D. The correct answer is directly. Non-coplanar non-concurrent forces are those forces which A. Meet at one point but their lines of action do not lie on the same plane. B. Do not meet at one point and their lines of action do not lie on the same plane. C. Do not meet at one point but their lines of action lie on the same plane. D. None of the above. The correct answer is do not meet at one point and their lines of action do not lie on the same plane. The forces which meet at one point but their lines of action on the same plane are known as non-coplanar concurrent forces. A. Lie. B. Do not lie. C. D. The correct answer is do not lie. A force while acting on a body may A. Change its motion. B. Balance the forces already acting on it. C. Give rise to the internal stresses in it. D. All of these. The correct answer is all of these. A screw jack used for lifting the loads is A. A reversible machine. B. A non-reversible machine. C. An ideal machine. D. None of these. The correct answer is a non-reversible machine. The wheels of a moving car possess A. Potential energy only. B. Kinetic energy of translation only. C. Kinetic energy of rotation only. D. Kinetic energy of translation and rotation both. The correct answer is kinetic energy of translation and rotation both. In order to determine the effects of a force acting on a body, we must know A. Magnitude of the force. B. Line of action of the force. C. Nature of the force, i.e. whether the force is push or pull. D. All of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. The negative acceleration is called retardation. A. True. B. False. C. D. The correct answer is true. The maximum displacement of a body from its mean position is called amplitude. A. Correct. B. Incorrect. C. D. The correct answer is correct. A lifting machine lifts a load of 1000 N through a distance of 0.2 m by means of an effort of 200 N through a distance of 1 m. This machine is an ideal one. A. Correct. B. Incorrect. C. D. The correct answer is correct.